my mic came unplugged. That usually doesn't help. Yeah, I have no intentions of doing that, Walrus. So who am I inviting? Good. I think I've got the wrong tags on right now. Let's have a look. Yeah, I'm not running modded Overwatch. Right, there we go. Okay. Good. Bum, bum, bum. Ooh.
Traveling to Horizon Lunar Colony.
Look at this team. We're gonna do great.
Well, it seems like Rosie may have coronavirus.
Attack commences in 30 seconds.
I wonder what's happened here since I escaped.
That's not good.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attack commences.
She is at risk.
Capture objective A.
She is at risk. She's in an at-risk demographic. It might not be coronavirus, it may just be extreme anxiety and stress about the whole situation. But, it seems like it probably is. Because she came into close contact with someone who has now been diagnosed with it. So... Yeah, and has type 2 diabetes as well. Diabetes puts you at higher risk. It's fairly mild at this point now. Fairly mild diabetes. Type 2. Because while she was here, she lost a significant amount of weight because she was on a better diet, and it really helped her in that regard. Type 2 is basically where your body becomes insulin resistant, and through proper diet and exercise, if you bring your weight down, if you eat properly, the symptoms basically vanish over time as you get lighter, right? To the point where it's not even a problem anymore. Because you can then lose that resistance and your body will treat insulin normally again, which is essentially what will happen if you lose enough weight. I don't know of any cases of people with type 2 diabetes that are not overweight. I haven't really looked that far into it. But generally that's what I hear about it. Type 1 diabetes, however, is different. Type 1 means that your body does not produce insulin. And that's the type where you have to inject yourself with insulin on a regular basis. Usually after eating. to make sure that your body can process all the sugar properly. Before eating? It's before, is it? Okay. Yeah.
I'll be watching over you.
I was always very careful about objective
Stream engaged.
Commence attack on objective B.
Kid, ask what time are we eating because I need extra.
Right.
I think it's before.
Right. Okay.
I'm with you. No one can hide from my sight.
There you go. Before eating.
This is not your time. Get them on. Merci.
No. No. She does get healthcare through her work, but it's still not free and it's still not cheap. That's the thing about health insurance in America. You've got two choices in America when it comes to healthcare. You can either pay an extremely large amount for it or an uncomfortably large amount for it. Those are your two choices. That's it. So, some people prefer to risk it and not get health insurance, and hopefully they'll save money in the long run by not paying that monthly fee, and just hope they don't get sick or don't get in an accident or something. Other people are not willing to take that risk, and either that or they have enough income or the right job that allows them to have the insurance without actually costing them a huge amount. So it's an extremely messed up system in America. It's entirely profit driven.
It's a perfect day for some dipstick.
If there's anything that shouldn't be profit driven, it's healthcare. And it is in America.
Taking the point.
Hey Hyper and G. Hello. It's making money and profiteering and gouging people for as much money as you can get from sick and dying people is just disgusting. Right. So in a way, that means you're incentivized to keep people sick for longer because you make more money that way. But you shouldn't keep them sick for too long, otherwise they might die and then you'll get no more money from them. So it's a careful balance.
Justice ain't gonna dispense itself.
But you also want people to continue trusting the healthcare, so you have to sort of cure them fast enough to keep their confidence in the system, but also slow enough to make more money. While at the same time in the UK, you've got a publicly funded healthcare system, which means that they're trying to save money wherever they can while still providing quality healthcare. So in the UK, you end up with one of the best healthcare systems in the world because they're incentivized to cure you quickly and get you back out the door so they don't have to spend so much money. Right. And they want to do it quickly and effectively because the better care they give you, the less likely you're going to come back and use more of their money to keep you healthy, right? So the UK system is the right way of doing it because it incentivizes the best healthcare possible. Someone... What channel did you see that on, Demon Tristana? It's the first I've heard of that. Because as far as I'm aware, no one's covered my 250 hour thing, unless you've seen a video that seems to say otherwise. What? When did you tell me? I can invite you, Drew, yeah. Daily Overwatch moments. Oh, it is. Nice. That was 5 days ago. Okay, one moment, please. Let's have a look.
What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 1083 of the Overwatch Daily Moments. Hope you're having a good day today. Let's get underway with a comment question of the day. Now that Echo is here, tell me guys, should the next hero be a tank, damage, or support, and why? Let us know down below what you think needs adding to the roster next, and I'll pick out your best responses to feature in the next episode. And come join us at the end because we'll be finding out what new cosmetic ideas you think would be cool for Echo. And as always, enjoy the video.
Alright.
There we go, 250 and 5 seconds. Perfect. So there we go, that's 250 hours of every single hero in the game, including.
2 years, 9 months have led to this moment.
Yeah, thanks Sticky Dog. I don't know why my alerts are doubled, and that logo is right over my face. Lovely.
Good. Good. Daily Overwatch moments, cool. Right, who wants an invite? Whamps. Right, cool. No, declined. You're not. Okay. Cool. $18.17. Oh. Your Overwatch level? You're playing with a friend. Okay. Good. Yep, looks like I haven't accidentally, without realizing, messed up my quick play rainbow. That's good. Invite. All right. Ooh. Might move that logo. Da, da, na, na, na. So I was looking at the statistics for the topic of the moment, and I found a Wikipedia page that told me the countries that don't have it right now. Right, the virus. And there's actually 20 UN countries without it right now. One of them will probably never report having it, which is North Korea. They'll probably never report having it. And some countries are not in a position to report right now, like Yemen.
Someone has to be ready when all your careful planning doesn't pan out.
There's also places like Antarctica, which is not an actual country, but it doesn't have any cases right now, so they're safe down there. That's better.
Capture
Where's the fun in
And there are a few African countries that don't have it, and several Oceania countries, so islands in the middle of nowhere. But apart from that, that's about it. Over 800,000 now. I'd say it's possible by the end of tomorrow or Thursday we'll have reached 1 million overall globally, and then maybe in another week, so mid next week, the US by itself is likely to have 1 million. So quite significant, really. The numbers are really going up fast. And yeah, Rosie may have it. She's been getting worse over the past few days. Was having real problems breathing yesterday. Ow. 6 levels away from Lee. Ah, nice. No, she does acknowledge that it might just be just anxiety and stress, a rather sort of extreme culmination of high anxiety and high stress screwing with her breathing. But it's usually not as bad as it is, or at least it was last night. But that being said, someone she works with was diagnosed with it, and she does take regular rides in an elevator with the nurses, and one of the nurses came down with it. So yeah, it probably is. Yeah, I don't play ranked. I have no interest in getting good, so there's no point in me playing that mode. She does get 9 days off work, though. She did have a speak with her boss, explain the situation, explained she was high risk. I don't know whether she mentioned her recent symptoms. That may have been part of it, but she's got 9 days off, so she won't be going back for over a week. So that's good for her. She gets that time to rest and recover. Here's it. It's difficult to get away from that because she works in a workplace where a lot of people are in a very, you know, small area. So it's unlikely that it won't break out and spread around her workplace. And it's an essential business, so it has to stay open. Publicly funded.
First round, 1.
There's no official world record now,
Score 1-0.
but I am the highest level.
Together we are strong. I do not
As far as I know,
and I do not like this place.
there's no official level leaderboard either.
What are you going
But every unofficial level leaderboard
I'm a soldier, Anna. Retirement doesn't
agrees that I'm the highest. That's actually looking at the correct battle tag. Because I did change my battle tag when I was 6,000 something. And some leaderboards fail to acknowledge that and just look at my old battle tag, which hasn't updated in several years now. Ouch.
The objective is now.
Hey, 81.
Imagination is the essence of discovery.
Ash here.
Is there anyone higher level than me? No.
Science will reveal
No.
the truth.
Not even close. If you look at my tracking document, I've got a tab on there.
Touch from afar.
I think it's called Year 4 Competition. And that's the 10 highest players in the world in terms of level. Second highest is around 1,700 levels behind.
At your service. Group up with me.
We're all soldiers now.
Zarya, ready for duty.
If you add 1-0 to your level, it's the same number, because anything plus 0 is the same number. So. How many people are watching? Well, you can see that on the page that you're on right now. Yeah, don't play ranked.
Together we are strong.
So below the stream, there'll be a little red person icon with a number next to it, and that's the number of viewers. If you're on mobile, it might show inside the little stream itself somewhere. It neither resets nor my upgrades. It just stays exactly the same. The only thing that goes around is the number. So number go all the way up to 100, and then it's 1 again, and then it'll go all the way up to 100, and then 1, and then all the way up to 100, and then 1. So the total level keeps going up, but it can't display anything beyond the maximum diamond border, which is what I'm on right now, which is only the 5th border. And ooh,
Victory.
Victory. Now, if Blizzard had been keeping up and making sure that every single person had a border that accurately represented their level, that would mean there would be currently 19 borders in the game, since I've got enough levels to be on the 19th border. But there are only 5 borders in the game right now, so Blizzard are a little bit behind in that regard. So the 5th border you can start earning at level 2401, and then you max it out at 2991. So just before you hit 3000, you've got a maximum border, and anything beyond that is the exact same border. How come there aren't many people watching? Who knows? I reckon it's because most people who like watching Overwatch content like to watch competitive, and I don't provide competitive content. Hey Maximum. 6 AM Pacific.
Welcome to Paris.
Most people will want to watch highly skilled players playing competitive, and I'm neither of those things.
Attack commences in 30 seconds.
What I provide is casual Overwatch content, and there's not a huge market for that.
I know what you are. I'm only sorry that you do not.
You do not.
This is my jam.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attack commencing. Capture objective A.
Just slice all the chairs. There we go. Why am I in a so high level? Because I've played the game a lot. You don't get a high level without playing the game a lot. Oh, 1 HP. Ooh, 0 HP.
Build them up, break them down.
Is this not a social activity? Talking with real people over the internet? It's much more social than just sitting in front of a games console on your own. You know? Playing single player games.
Securing the point. Get in here.
True self. I'm taking the point. Join me.
Hey, check in.
I'm not a fish.
Capturing the objective.
Well, I'm technically employed, but not actually working right now because of coronavirus. So that's nice.
Commence attack
Only through conflict do we evolve.
Online. Move up. Higher.
Ugh. Yay. Jesus. Oh, wait. Oh, nice. His hat fell off.
Everything can be hacked. Beacon in place.
Moira is here.
The new Doom skin. I've got it. I bought it. I'm absolute trash at Doomfist though.
Here I am.
I'm gonna have to play a lot of Doomfish in Quick Play Classic when that happens. When it comes to rounding out my all modes hours, because I just die real fast.
Sigma present.
Gotcha.
100 million, what? 100 million, what? 1 million. Credits? No, still 922,000, so it's gonna be a few months on that one. Not until the middle of the year at least. No, I'm not left-handed. I just use Dvorak layout instead of QWERTY layout for my keyboard,
Hey there.
which has P right next to my movement keys.
Feeling much better.
Level up.
What?
Out of here. ¿Extrañaste?
I'll hack that.
I might need this later.
Okay, good. No one healthy has died from it. False.
Gotcha.
False. Not true.
Apagando las luces.
The other day, a 17-year-old with no prior medical history died from it within a few days.
Man apocalypse.
So being young and healthy is not a guarantee of your safety. There are many, many cases of people with no prior medical conditions dying from it. No one is safe.
Sigma present.
30 seconds.
It's so dicht bij.
Now, that being said, about 90% of cases are mild. So you've got about a 9 out of 10 chance of being perfectly okay once you've recovered, right? You've got a 90% chance of getting a mild case. You'll be a bit coughy, a bit short of breath for a couple of weeks, and then you'll be fine. Right? You've got about 90% chance if you're otherwise healthy, right? 10% of cases are severe. So 10% of cases you may need to be hospitalized. And in about 10% of those cases, you may die, right? So that's generally how it's working out at the moment. So, yeah, 10% is still a lot. And if 10% of any population in any country is sick and needs hospitalization, the hospital system will not be able to cope at all. Which means that countries have an obligation to reduce the amount of people that this virus affects, because otherwise their healthcare systems would end up being completely overwhelmed, and not only the virus patients but also any other health issues that people need hospital care for will be impacted. So if someone breaks a leg, they won't be able to get it fixed in a hospital because the hospital is full of coronavirus patients and has no room for anyone else. People that need life-saving surgery won't be able to get it, or will struggle to get it, right? So it's one of those things that's the most scary part of this thing, not necessarily the mortality rate, but the hospitalization rate is extremely high. I was looking at the figures for flu, which some people are comparing it to, and the hospitalization rate for flu is about 1%, and the death rate of that is about 1%, right? So people are dying about 10%, I think. Yeah, it's 10% of the hospitalization rate for flu and for coronavirus, but the difference is people are hospitalized with flu 10% of the time compared to coronavirus. So coronavirus is hospitalizing 10 times as many people, and that's the biggest problem with it. Sure, it's killing 10 times as many people as a result. That's true, and that's a problem too. But the fact that it's hospitalizing so many people is causing a serious problem when it comes to actual hospital capacity. So yeah, the countries need to flatten the curve as much as possible, spread out the cases as flat as possible. So although you might get everyone infected in the country over time, as long as the total number of people is not above the maximum capacity of the healthcare system, it's not a problem. It's when the curve is too steep, too high, and it goes above that capacity for too long, where you get a real problem. And people start dying because they just can't get healthcare, regardless of their actual problem. So that is the scariest part. Yeah, there are some European countries that are getting hammered right now. Seriously. And it's only the beginning. That's the scary thing. If they're already having trouble with capacity and there's only a few tens of thousands of people infected, imagine when that's 500,000, several million. It's gonna be so much worse. You know? The countries that have not done enough to stop this thing as early as possible have really messed up big time. And it's a bit too late to fix it now for those countries. There's very little they can do when it's got this much out of control. The UK is better, but still hasn't done enough soon enough. Our cases are already over 20,000, and that's a significant number. That's only likely to go up from here, especially because the government was so flip-floppy on their strategy. At the beginning, they were saying, oh yeah, herd immunity, that'll be fine. Let everyone get it, it's not a problem. And then they flipped to, oh dear, oh no, close everything down. So now that the public are somewhat confused about what they want to do, what they need to do to keep themselves safe, and a lot of people aren't taking it seriously enough, which means it's going to continue spreading around. So the UK is probably going to get pretty screwed. Not as screwed as maybe Italy or Spain and places like that, but yeah, the UK is going to get pretty screwed. The US is just... US is probably the worst place to be right now, in my opinion. One of the worst places in the in the first world, in, you know, a developed country, the US is the worst. Because their cases are going through the roof right now and will continue to do so. The number of cases in the US is doubling every 2 days. And that's not a recipe for success. So yeah. And Trump was boasting the other day, oh yeah, 200,000 deaths would mean we've done a good job. No, it won't.
This will protect us.
At least there are no zombies yet. Wow. Well, if there's any time for a zombie outbreak to happen, it's a time when the healthcare system is already severely depleted because of another virus, right? It depends how it works, but there's very little ways where it could work exactly like in the movies. There's not much you can do to make that happen, but there are certain ways you can get around that. The fungus model that Last of Us uses is more plausible, but it's still not super scientific. I don't know how possible it would be to engineer something like that. And it would probably have to be engineered. I don't think you could actually just accidentally get something like that. Don't think I've had my pills today. My vitamin D is probably more important than my other one right now, because I'm not going outside. And while that would usually be unusual and frowned upon, these days it's required, so... Ugh. Ran out of vitamin D's. You have to order some more then, aren't you? Don't even take vitamins. Wow, your diet must be horrendous. You don't like vegetables, you don't take vitamin supplements. Wow. How are you still alive? The thing is, when you're young, you can abuse your body quite a bit in terms of nutrition, and it's fine. But once you start getting older, it's less and less okay for your body to deal with, and it becomes more and more of a problem. But that doesn't mean you should just not take nutrition seriously. The more seriously you take nutrition, and the more well you eat, the better off you'll be in general. In terms of overall health, in terms of cognitive function. So... So you're a fussy eater. Wow. I'm a very unfussy eater. I'll eat most things. I just popped you in the face. Turret? Where?
Enemy turrets down.
Enemy turret. I don't like how most foods feel in your mouth, so I don't like the texture. Okay. Okay. So what do you like then, Walrus?
Personne n'est jamais
Yeah, I do like how lime green stands out nicely against the background. Oh no! Ba-bum, ba-bum.
Play of the game.
Okay, see ya.
Cease your resistance.
Only eat McDonald's chicken nuggets. Do you know what they put in those things? The chicken nuggets are made out of all the disgusting bits of the chicken they don't want to use for the other chicken stuff. Oh, carrot tastes good. Chicken and rice is nice. Da 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 ba bum.
Now traveling to Busan.
Small anomalies. Impatient.
And a bit of salt. Overwatch is good for that.
Curious.
According to Jeff.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Round 1. Capture objective.
Hello.
Woo! Bum, 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 bum. I'm an invisible ball. No one can see me. Not even that McCree is shooting me. No! Oh man. Like taking candy from a piece of cake. Okay, cool. Yep. Okay. Reaper needs an app.
Justice ain't gonna dispense itself.
Okay, good.
After you. Maltese after you.
Hey, don't blink out of my shot. Get out of here, piggy. Feels great, thanks. Take that.
Next round's on after you. Next round's on. Hold up now. That'll learn you. After you. After you.
No, don't shoot me. Ah.
Greetings.
Build 'em up. Bingo.
Nate checking in.
Too hot for you.
Torbjorn's too hot for you.
Show them what you can do. Too hot for you. Hot for you. Hot for you. Hot for you.
This was
Too hot for you. Too hot for you. Hello. There's no prize for coming. It's bingo.
Ooh, dead. Are any other borders after Diamond? Nope. Diamond is the 5th and final border. Despite me having enough levels for 19 borders, there are only 5. Ow!
Best round 1.
Ugh.
activating self-destruct seek.
Fair enough.
Score 1-0.
Never stop fighting. Don't be scared. Are you scared?
I can't
Don't
wait
be
to
scared.
fight.
Hmm.
All systems operational.
Okay.
Diva, ready for combat.
I need healing. Are you scared? Don't be scared.
Winky pig.
5, 4,
Are you scared?
2, 1. Round 2.
Are you scared? Don't be scared. Are you scared?
reasonable.
Don't be
Mace to
scared.
mace to the face.
Your ultimate mace to the face. Oh no, it's not just a standard mace to the face, it's an ultimate mace to the face.
My ultimate mace to the face.
The objective is now
Ooh! Nice. No, stop it! Ah! What energy stores would be at the start and end of coal being burned?
Cheers, love. The cavalry's here.
What? You're talking about Minecraft. I don't know. I don't care. Coal shouldn't be burned. Just shouldn't be burned, so doesn't matter.
Back in the fight.
Wow, the pilot of this one must be thick. Look at the size of the cockpit. Super thick. What are you talking about? When you burn coal, the carbon in the coal combines with the oxygen in the air to create carbon dioxide, right? I don't know what you're getting at. Why are you giving me a science quiz? Yeah, it's a lot of over out. Yeah. Overwrought. Overwatch. Okay. That may be true, Walrus. That may be true. I don't know. I don't have all the facts, and neither do you. Benya Storm, thanks for the follow. It's usually dumb people who think they're smarter without actually analysing the evidence. Right. The smart people are the ones who say, I don't know.
Now entering the temple of Elise.
Feels good to be home.
Clearing the area.
Look at Donald Trump. He thinks he knows everything. He thinks he knows more than the experts. Yet time and again he proves he doesn't.
Let's just get the job done.
Boom, boom.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Humility is an important aspect
Defend objective
of intelligence.
I will get us home safe.
Good job, Webs. Saw that.
With every day comes honor. With honor redemption.
Showing us how it's done there. Hi there, freak. Greetings. I'm working my way towards it. Currently, my progress is 92.2% done, I think. Something like that. So I'm close, but not quite.
I'm here.
Widowmaker here.
To the nearest 10,000, it's 920,000 right now, my credit total. I'm getting there. Should be there within the next few months. Could probably work it out based on how quickly I got the last 10,000 credits and then times that by 8. I'll be there. So. In general, every loot box is worth an average of 100 credits. So for 80,000 credits, I'd need 800 levels. So it will take me a little while. At 5 levels a day.
Retrieving the barrier.
So that's approximately 5 months.
30 seconds remaining.
We continue upon this trajectory, the less than satisfying outcome is certain.
We'll see. Just replace Mercy's model with Zarya's. And just make her actually just buff. Right? Just give her big muscles. Easy.
Everything is falling into place.
Victory.
Ooh. Okay.
Play of the game.
Hmm.
Rally to me.
Na-na-na-na-na.
Best offense is a good defense.
Kill streak. Wow, nice. Oh, almost silver border webs. So close! Yeah, well, quick play is not accessible for me right now. Because look. Hey! I was looking at that. Look. It's complete. There's no more room left for quick play. An experimental mode would be nice, but it's not there right now. That's my only avenue to access the roll queue without messing stuff up. So And the roll queue does double my credit progress. So it would cut the required time in half. But I'm in no rush right now. Overwatch 2 is still a while off by the looks of it, so it's something to keep me occupied.
Piece of cake. Piece of cake. Piece of cake. Piece of cake.
Piece of cake.
Round 1.
Piece of cake. Ready, set, oh yeet! Oh, good. Ah! Ah! Excuse me, I need to reload. No! The guy bellow is cool. The guy bellow. That's the wrong spelling, dude.
True self.
Do you know what a bellow is? No. No. Every golden gun requires playing a mode I don't like, so it's not worth it. Now, one thing I'd recommend to Blizzard, that one thing that I've said plenty of times, once we learned what Overwatch 2 was and what it meant, is a good way of getting a golden gun would be to max out a hero level in the hero missions mode in Overwatch 2. So if you played the hero missions enough to max out a level on a hero, you should get their golden gun. That makes not only a way of people who don't like competitive, a way of them getting golden guns, but also a more meaningful way of getting golden guns. Because currently, golden guns are just a statement that says, I've played some competitive. And that's it. That's all a golden gun means right now. So they're fairly meaningless. If you gave golden guns out as a reward, now I'm not saying take it away from comp, I'm saying add it in, right? If you add it in a way for people to get golden guns by maxing out a hero's level in the hero missions, it would actually be more meaningful to have a golden gun from that. Because it would be saying, hey, I played this hero a decent amount, and I actually, you know, like to play him. And I might be actually pretty good at that hero by the time you've actually done that many hero missions. You know? So, it would mean more. It would be a more casual way of getting a golden gun, and it would still require a decent amount of effort. Because maxing out a hero's level in hero missions takes a while. Right? Takes a while. So, that would be a good suggestion for that, in my opinion. And if you make it take the about the same amount of effort as it does in competitive, for about the same amount of time, then it's fine, right? It's an equal amount of effort. So you just choose the mode that you want to unlock him in. Right. Only the second.
Death walks among
Telepathic. Don't know if that would be worth it though. The amount of stuff you'd find out, you'd wish you'd never were. Think about how many things you think about in a day, that if someone found out you thought about that, they'd be horrified. Like, you think about doing something that you'd never actually do, but is pretty horrific, right? And then someone else looking at what you're thinking about, and then they're like, oh.
Heroes never die.
Only through
I wouldn't
conflict
recommend it.
do we evolve.
I would not recommend it. You're better off not knowing.
Hey, Daddy-O.
Overtime.
Oh,
First round. 1. Score 1-0.
Together, we are strong.
Hola.
yeah. That's a an interesting take on invisibilities. One that I haven't actually heard about before, which is absolutely true. Which is the fact that if you're invisible, that means light can't hit the back of your eye, right? And cannot be registered in your brain, which means if you're invisible, you cannot see anything. That's very true. But here's the thing, even if that wasn't the case, it would still be a bad idea. Because nobody can see you, which means people are going to walk into you all the time, constantly, because they're not going to see you, they're not going to walk around you, they'll just walk straight into you. That would be annoying. Crossing the road would be a nightmare. Nobody would be able to see you. You'd have to be very, very careful. Yeah, of course, it'd be toggleable, but even when you've got it on, it would be annoying, right? Even if you could just toggle it whenever you wanted, ideally you wouldn't want to toggle it right in front of someone unless you wanted to freak them out. But what you're not looking at, you're not seeing either. So something coming from behind you, if you don't notice it, they might walk into you. That might cause real problems. Maybe if they're coming at speed, they could do real damage. If you're hurt and invisible, what happens if you're knocked unconscious while invisible? Do you stay invisible or do you lose your invisibility? Is it a concentrated effect, or can it be just toggled on and off without any mental effort? Right. It really depends on what kind of invisibility it is, but it's more trouble than it's worth. And what's invisible? Just yourself or your clothes too? Can you make something else invisible if you're holding on to it?
I claim the objective.
Humanity is disorder.
So in order to decide whether it's a good idea or not, you have to know all the rules. Super strength is useless without super density as well. You have to be super dense in order for super strength to actually be useful. And to be practical, you need to be able to toggle both at the same time. Or have very fine control over your own strength.
Not half bad.
Portals depends on the atmospheric effects and how they interact with the environment. Think about it this way. If you could portal between one place in the world and another place in the world, there's a high likelihood that as soon as you create the portal, the atmosphere would rush from one side to the other, depending on the atmospheric differences between the two areas. Because atmospheric pressure varies quite a bit from one area to another. You get a bit of a windy hole. So it wouldn't be very stealthy. Teleportation is problematic. If you remove something instantly from an area, all the air around it will rush in and create a massive boom. And similarly, if you teleport it into an area, air would rush away and cause a massive boom. In terms of volume and rushing air, it would be a problem. So... super fast speed would be a problem, especially if you could go fast enough to cause atomic explosions. Which, theoretically, if you went fast enough, you could just nuke your local area just by trying to punch someone really fast. You just cause a nuclear explosion and destroy everything in a large radius. So, yeah, that's not a good idea. Hi, Caliber. So yeah, most superpowers are not a good idea.
Attack commences in 30 seconds.
Gravitational manipulation. You could do a lot with that. A lot more than Sigma's doing. A lot more. Gravity may be the weak force, but you can still do a lot with it. So in order for teleportation to work out, to actually be good, you have to displace. It's not teleportation, it would be displacement. Mutual displacement. So you'd basically have to teleport yourself to a location and anything at that location to your previous location. So you'd have to swap, right? So if there's you need to transport the person's worth of air from the location you're teleporting to the location you're leaving from, just to make sure that it equals out properly. Otherwise, you're going to cause some severe atmospheric disturbance, which could cause a large amount of destruction. So that would have to come as part of the package, otherwise it would not work. You'd just die. And that's talking about moving yourself as a form of teleportation, rather than copying yourself and destroying the original, which is what Star Trek teleportation is, right? They basically just copy someone and delete the original. In some forms of it, it really depends on which forms you're talking about. The actual mechanics of teleportation in Star Trek are not clear. They tend to change the facts of the matter rather regularly as to how it actually works, so it's unclear. But generally, in theoretical terms, quantum teleportation is a thing that could theoretically work, but it does work in a way that it creates a copy of something, and as a result of doing that, destroys the original. You cannot teleport something without destroying the original thing. But what you can do is make copies of the thing without teleporting. So it would be entirely possible to make unlimited copies of a person, for example, if you had the right ingredients. But the process of getting those ingredients is currently not possible with our current technology. Because the amount of quantum particles you'd have to entangle is absurd. Literally trillions.
Beacon in place.
Payload in transit.
Don't know about that.
Justice will be done.
No, I'm not going to say May. But a lot of the heroes are severely underpowered in terms of their potential. Sigma is one of them. That's underutilizing his abilities. He's throwing literal singularities around, and he's not killing everyone in one shot.
There is no obligation.
Sigma present. I'm on fire. I mean, Sigma has the power of gravity, but Tracer has the power of time, and that's pretty powerful.
Observe the battle. Everyone heal up. Activating the barrier.
Activating the barrier. Gravity is called the weak force for a reason. It's the weakest of all the universal constants.
Everything can be hacked, and everyone.
Jenny.
Beacon in place.
Oh no! Now if you could control the strong nuclear force. Oof.
Build 'em up, break 'em down.
That would just allow you to create nuclear explosions wherever you wanted. That'd be pretty significant. Think about how much stronger that would be. Just nuking stuff with a thought. You'd have to make sure you're pretty far away though, unless you're immune to your own nukes. That's why telekinesis is probably the most powerful of superpowers, because depending on how precisely you can control things, you can rip atoms apart, you can fuse atoms together, you could create any element from any other element. You know.
Why are we stopped? Just let us move, Halo.
You could create pure neutronium, probably one of the most highly energetic theoretical materials in the known universe.
Enemy turrets taken care of.
Yeah, you could make new elements that theoretically would not be able to exist. Yeah.
Build 'em up, break 'em down.
You could fuse atoms together in someone's body to such a point where they get a massive amount of a radiation dose, so violent, so extreme that they just instantly die from radiation poisoning. That would be a pretty subtle way of doing it as well, because you wouldn't need many atoms to do that. Severe acute radiation poisoning. Neutronium is a substance that's made completely out of neutrons, right? So it's just pure neutrons. And it's extremely powerful. Talk about making new elements, okay. But you've also got things like strange matter. Now, strange matter is probably one of the most dangerous things you could ever create if you had that kind of power, because strange matter converts anything it comes into contact with into more strange matter, and it does so at the speed of light. So you could instantly basically destroy the Earth within a matter of seconds using strange matter. Just a tiny bit of it, throw it at the Earth is just gone within seconds. And all that's left is just a blob of strange matter the size of like a ballpoint tip, right? With the same amount of gravitational force, so the moon would continue revolving around the Earth. The Earth would just be a blob of strange matter instead. Right.
Boy. Hey.
You wouldn't even get the chance to eat strange matter. It would just convert everything it came into contact into strange matter pretty much instantly. And strange matter is extremely dense. It's as dense as you can get, basically. Outside of a black hole. I need to pee, B.O.B. Alright, good. Let's continue. Well, technically, in normal circumstances, atoms will never ever touch each other. Ever. Atoms are, in all circumstances, all normal circumstances, 99.999% empty space. You get a tiny little nucleus in the middle where the protons and neutrons are, if applicable, and then the electron shell on the outside, which is much, much further away. Sure, I'll show you. Send me in VV. And even then, the electrons of an atom don't even touch anything either. So now electrons can jump to and from nearby atoms. That's how acids and alkalis work. Alkaline substances, I believe alkaline take electrons and acids give electrons, or the other way around, I forget. But they basically work in opposite ways, so I think acids take electrons away from the thing that's burning, right? And alkalis give electrons to the thing instead. Something like that. I forget. But it's part of the chemical reaction. I don't know. It's been a long time since I did my chemistry lessons in school. A long time. It was longer ago than you've been alive, Walrus, that I was learning about that stuff. So. It's easy enough to learn that stuff again if you want to, because the internet.
Doomfist here.
Yeah, there we go. Well, chemistry is all part of science, right? You're alive because of chemistry, right? The parent to our son created the elements that make up your body.
Never stop fighting for
So,
what you believe in.
that's chemistry. Yeah, biology runs off chemistry. That's right. Your body itself is just a big chemical reactor of sorts. Just a watery bag of chemicals. Oh no. Greetings,
Only through
Earthlings.
conflict do we evolve.
Enemy turret over there.
99% of out bodies consist of 6 elements. Yep. Hydrogen, oxygen, that's the water. Carbon. Ooh.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Nitrogen and calcium. Isn't that 5?
Barrier won't hold together.
Enemy turret down.
Hey there.
Da, 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 da. Lots of empty channels.
Turret ahead. Enemy turret down.
Well, Fe is iron.
Junkrat primed and ready.
You got carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen.
The online.
What's S?
Heroes never die.
Ah! Sulfur. Ah, sulfur.
Never stop fighting for what you believe in.
Shut up, Meeseeks. Me 6. Okay, that's fine.
I need healing.
So the bot's just gonna talk in that channel only. Okay.
Scratch, you'll be fine. This will help.
How dare you?
No dying on my
Just delete it.
Heroes never die. For a price. My ultimate is ready. Let's do this. Let's get you back out there.
Yeah, because you're admin, you're exempt from the rules. I haven't guessed what it is. No, I haven't. Oh, too late. Nickelodeon. Okay, fair enough. You know, at one point in my life, I was at least partly an egg. That was right at the beginning. So, and so were you. Much sooner than I was. To now, that is.
Enemy turret.
Much more recently. And what's after embryo? No. It's zygote first, isn't it? Zygote and then fetus?
You should be at peak performance level.
Or is it the other way around? Or is fetus the same thing? What about zygote? What's zygote then? Let's have a look.
Seconds remaining.
Ah, zygote is before embryo. So you get sperm and egg, then you get zygote, then you get embryo, and then you get fetus. Yeah. The zygote is the result of the sperm and the egg. That's when they first meet. When they first meet, it's a zygote. And then once they develop more, start splitting up, that's an embryo. And then when it starts resembling a thing, that's when it's a fetus, right? When it starts resembling an animal or a person. Oh, there's blast assist as well. Blast assist. So is okay, so that's another stage. So yeah, blast assist is mammal exclusive, but so you get zygote, then you get embryo, then you get blastocyst, and then you get fetus. Sure, Marsha. According to this, the blastocyst is after the embryo, or it's a type of embryo.
You were a disgrace to Overwatch. If I had known what Reyes had been planning, I would never have allowed it.
Seems to me that it was convenient for you not to look too closely into Gabriel's
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Round 1.
Yeah, so an embryo becomes a blastocyst at around day 5. So embryo is day 0.5 to day 5. And then blastocyst is 5 to 9. There's so many different words. We're talking about stages of human development in the womb. For some reason.
I'm a one-man apocalypse.
Yeah, well, a zygote is a combination of an egg and a sperm. At least one sperm. Sometimes you get more than one. If something weird happens.
Science will reveal the truth.
Sometimes you get more than one egg, that's right. That's what happens sometimes, and that results in non-identical twins. Now, there are a few different ways of non-identical twins forming, as far as I remember. One is where more than one egg is released. That's a guaranteed non-identical twin, if both get fertilized. And then there's one type where the egg splits before it's fertilized, which can result in non-identical. Well, it has to, right? But they're more identical than the non-identical ones before, because both eggs are the same. So you get two children with the same half from the mother, and then two different halves from the father. So they're more similar than if two eggs are released. And then you get twins where the egg is fertilized by the sperm, but then it splits before multiplying properly. And then that's identical twins, right? That's how I understand it. Why did you just join my Overwatch stream? Welcome. Oh, we started a new game and it's almost 4 o'clock. Yeah, so conjoined happens when you get identical twins but they don't fully separate, and so develop while still attached to each other. And that can happen in any part of the body, essentially. pretty much. So you get some conjoined twins with a joint ahead, some joined like on one side, some at the other end. And you get different levels of conjoinment as well. Some share organs, others don't. It's very strange. Hey there, Alpha Baby. Where did I learn this? Various places. The internet is a useful resource. Ow. What if you shared a brain but nothing else?
My business, my rules.
That would be severely problematic. But you'd essentially be one person because you shared the one brain. So you'd have a double body, which probably wouldn't be easy to deal with. I guess we'll overrun the Overwatch time a bit. Baby!
Remember your training, and we'll get through this just fine.
Oh. It depends on exactly how it worked. I don't know if one brain would be viable. Whether that would actually happen? I don't know. So you'd have to basically just have one head as well. Or I don't know. That would be weird. Probably wouldn't work. Although I have seen pictures in the past of a baby born in India, which essentially had that. They had 4 arms and 4 legs. And because of Hinduism, they were basically worshipped as a god.
Soldier 76 reporting for duty.
I don't know what happened to that baby, whether it survived or not, I don't know. Well, it's not the brain that powers the muscles, it's the heart. Right? It's the heart's ability to ensure they have a sufficient supply of oxygen. And in that scenario, you'd have 2 hearts, so you'd have more than enough. The problem comes when the brain gets twice as much blood supply as it should have, and I don't know if that's sustainable. I don't know enough about biology to know whether that's sustainable or not.
True self is without form.
$5K. Haven't played in 2 years. You thinking about getting back into it? Maybe when Overwatch 2 comes out. Yeah, Overwatch 2 is going to be great. Definitely looking forward to that. I'd like to have it sooner than later, but also at the same time, I want Blizzard to take their time with it and make sure it's nice and good before releasing it. So I'm happy to wait, but I'm also keen to play at the same time.
Activating the barrier.
You trying to impress me?
Oh yeah.
Victory.
So Walrus, you're basically saying, I want it now. That's what you're saying, right?
Play of the game. Double.
Okay, well, it's Breck time. And after the Breck, we'll be doing some GTA Chaos chosen by you. So, BRB.